Hey everybody, this is Pat Mesiti, Friday afternoon, 4 p.m. up here in Brisbane, 5 p.m. in Melbourne. Today a very sobering, and look, I'm sorry if I get a little bit passionate about today, because this Teflon Dan down there in Victoria, this antichrist or type of antichrist, this consistent liar, this man who I would call the Chief Executive Officer of corruption in the state of Melbourne, a disgrace to the title of Premier. As of yesterday, and I've known about this for over 9 days now, I can confirm that with people that I called. He now is under a probe, he and his wife, for the accident where a 15-year-old boy by the name of Ryan Muleman, 13 years ago, was hit by a vehicle driven by, supposedly, Dan Andrews' wife, Catherine. A taxpayer-funded four-wheel drive hit a 15-year-old cyclist, which resulted in him being in the hospital for nearly 17 days, and this kid nearly died. Let me tell you the injuries that he suffered. He suffered broken ribs, internal bleeding, punctured lungs, and reports said he almost died. Here is the photos of this 15-year-old boy riding his bike when the Andrews family... Now, the accounts are very different. I'm going to play you in a moment. There is this 15-year-old boy, and by the way, from what I understand, at no point did this heartless man and his wife, and I'll show you the smirk on her face she had on later today from her questioning, did they visit this young man? No. Did they inquire about his well-being? No. As a matter of fact, a witness today has come forward. Actually, you know what? Let's just show the photo of the witness, James, if we can. I know we're running a little. This is the witness. I'm going to give you her name. A lady by the name of Mrs. Crittenden came forward today, basically saying that after Dan Andrews called 000, he left. And as she said, at no point did he get on his knees or Catherine get on their knees to help the victim. Now, Dan Andrews' account says that this boy was driving so fast. Let me read you exactly what he said. In 2017, Dan Andrews told reporters the young man on the bike plowed into the side of the car. He almost T-boned the car. He hit it at such force, it was literally inside the car. That's how much the windscreen was depressed. Yet no charges were laid at the time. Police who attended the scene did not breathalyze anyone in breach of standard operating procedure. The officers were giving a warning but were ultimately cleared of wrongdoing. Of course they're cleared of wrongdoing. They're pepper spraying people on the streets. They're rubber bulleting people on the streets. They're pushing grandmothers on the floor and pepper spraying them. This is the same guy, folks, who the cops in Melbourne refused. The Victorian police refused to release crash documents requested by the media under the Freedom of Information laws, and it prompted the IBAC to review the police handling. Now, IBAC, piece of work they are, says they're not investigating the incident or the conduct of the Premier or any member of his family. My question is, why not? IBAC today, let me just show you, before I play the interview, let's just show the latest that's come out of Melbourne with Dictator Dan. The Victorian Premier is investigated by anti-corruption watchdog. The Premier, Dan Andrews, is being investigated in a secret anti-corruption commission probe over his role in awarding 2 grants worth $3.4 million to a labelling union on the eve of the 2018 election. People of Victoria, people of Australia, Albanese, where the heck are you? are the people of Victoria going to re-vote for this scoundrel? This is the guy that suffered amnesia because he couldn't remember who signed the cheque for his union mates under the longest lockdown in the history of lockdowns, and who oversaw under his watch 800 deaths. This guy does not care about who lives or dies. He's worried about his title. He's worried about his position. He's worried about protecting his own butt. And might I say, hey, Catherine, where were you during the lockdowns? Did you live in Melbourne? Hey, Mr. Andrews, where did you live in Victoria during the lockdowns? Would you mind telling the good people of Victoria, allegedly, you were up hiding up at the Crown? Unless I'm mistaken. Happy for you to disprove me. If I'm wrong, I apologise. Just putting it out there for the folks. Where were you? By the way, I'm not buying that you fell down the stairs, sunshine. People talk. And people have cameras. Dan Andrews and his wife, with their kids in the car, collide with a 15-year-old boy, and Ryan Muleman says the police did not come back at any time thereafter to get a statement from me. This is Ryan's own words. Ryan told publication The Age that he never gave a police statement to detail his version of the events. He felt he was used as a pawn. I got to tell you, he was. Mr. Muleman says that his version of events have never been heard because he could hardly speak to the officers when they visited him at home following the 11 days, not 17, the 11 days he spent in hospital with tubes down his throat. Bit hard to get a police report when you got tubes sticking down your throat, and a 15-year-old kid would have felt completely intimidated. They did not come back at any time to get a statement from me. He also claims he was forced into silence and to keep his mouth shut in order to get his 5-figure compensation. Let me play you the entire interview, and I want you to listen to Ryan and his dad. Please listen to these two people that have suffered such injustice, like most of the people of Victoria, under this despot, evil dictator. Let's run the video.
We kind of put it behind us. We didn't get the result that we were looking for, and we don't feel that the truth got out there. So kind of felt that there was a massive injustice done against my son. So here we are, you know, quite a number of years down the track, trying to get the truth out there, trying to get a little bit of a justice and right the wrongs that happened to him. This has scarred my son for a major part of his life. And so if getting the truth out there can help somewhat to get my son's life back on track, then that's what we're here for.
What do you remember about how the accident transpired?
Just riding from my dad's to mum's like every other weekend, and just looking left to right, slowing down and doing the right thing, wearing a helmet, everything like that, and just pretty much crossing the road and yeah, just looking left and seeing it, just speeding at speeds you wouldn't think that you'd travelling around a corner on a footpath like this, on a road like that. So getting hit and just being in a lot of pain, and just yeah, it's not a spot you really want to come back to. So I got a punctured lung, ruptured spleen, broken ribs, and I was internally bleeding up until emergency surgery. So. Not happy. It's not what you want to hear. It's not the truth. Just sort of signing paperwork, and being younger, I was a bit scared into believing it all, and that I'd probably get in some kind of trouble with a law that the lawyers worked with the paperwork, and I'd be looked at as a criminal. Pretty unfair. Didn't get a good chance to speak up and be treated fairly. People have a right to know, and they should know. And
this is pretty powerful stuff here,
folks. They listen to Daniel Andrews' stories.
Let me just get this straight. You got a 15-year-old kid who has been intimidated. You got the former, or at that time, he was he wasn't the premier, but he was running. Not breathalyzed, not him or his wife. No police report released. Doesn't even help the victim. Dials 000 and leave. How do I know that? Well, the witness said today, Mrs. Crichton, who was the first at the scene of the action, revealed to the Herald Sun how she turned a corner and almost drove to the back of the Andrews car. They had hit this child who was lying on the road, and my instinct was just to go straight to that child, so I got out and ran over, she said. She said a local resident also came out to the scene because it was a big hit, adding Mr. Muleman's bike was smashed up while the wheels were all bent in a mess. Miss Crichton grabbed a towel from her car, put it under the head of Mr. Muleman as it was burning hot all day. A witness has still came forward, okay? There were claims that Mr. Andrews and his wife were slow to render assistance to Mr. Muleman, and they were yelling at each other. Yeah, well, great. A kid is lying there dying, and you and your wife decide to have a domestic. Can I ask a couple of questions? Just want to ask a couple of questions. Were you arguing as to who was really driving the car? Were you arguing as to maybe did you have a few too many? What were you arguing over? And by the way, your kids are in the car. Shouldn't you, rather than be yelling at each other, be going there to help your traumatized children, and a young man who is dying there bleeding? No, you decide to have a domestic. I want to repeat that again. There were claims Mr. Andrews and his wife were slow to render assistance because they were yelling at each other. Ms. Crichton said in one of her reports, I don't think they were down on their knees helping. No, they weren't. But I was only concerned about the child. I was focusing on him. That's where my zone was. Now I'm going to play you Mr. Dan Andrews. Now they go for a while, so bear with me. When he was confronted by the media yesterday, he said, and I quote, I've answered your questions about 15 times and the answers won't change. I have nothing further and no comment to make. You know, when you are in trouble, you have the right to remain silent because anything you say or do can be held against you. Have a listen to this arrogant man. I mean, we all know we all know what he is. But I just want you to listen and see if this doesn't make your blood boil. Look at the contempt at which he replies. Let's run the tape.
Faced with 17 questions today.
I've got nothing further to add, and I've got nothing further to say, and I've got no comment to make on that. As I said yesterday, I've canvassed these matters in great detail, and I've got no further comment to make.
Do you remember?
Former Victorian Crown Prosecutor James Bowen has written today that he finds it extraordinary that IBAC's 2017 investigation into that collision found no deficiencies in the police investigation. What do you have to say to that?
As I said, I've canvassed those matters at great length on multiple occasions, and I've got no further comment to make.
It's become clear that police never interviewed victims, they didn't breathalyse the driver, they didn't encounter carpet forensics, they didn't interview either you or Kath until weeks after the incident. Is that normal police practice as far as you're aware?
You'd need to speak to Victoria Police about those matters. Beyond that, I've canvassed these issues, these exact issues, at length on multiple occasions, and I've got nothing further to say.
Do you remember Jane Crittenden being at the scene, and have you spoken to her since the incident?
I have canvassed these matters at length in great detail. I think we gave a transcript yesterday of a whole range of different questions and answers, and I've got nothing to add, nothing at all to add to what I've said already.
With respect, yesterday is the first time that the victim of that accident has spoken publicly, and his account and the witness account today are quite different from yours. You feel no need to address that discrepancy?
As I've made clear to you, Rachel, I have addressed these issues at length on multiple occasions, and I have absolutely nothing to add to the extensive comments I have already made.
Yeah, this is the second day you've refused to directly answer questions about these new claims that have been put forward. Doesn't the victim, Ryan Mullenman, deserve a response from you?
I've provided you with detailed answers to questions. These events occurred 10 years ago. I have spoken about this many times in great detail, and I've got no further comment to make.
Okay, let's just hold it there. Let's just hold it there. Firstly, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Number one, why are you refusing to answer questions? Number two, and if you gave the answers before, your answer should be the same. Here's the problem. When you lie, you can't remember what you said. Truth does not need to have a memory. I want you to hear that very clearly. Truth needs no memory. Lies need a memory. Second or third question, where and on what platforms have you responded? The media don't seem to know about it. Your friendly media that love you so much, they don't seem to know. The Age doesn't seem to know. The Herald Sun can't find anything. Where did you speak? Oh, IBAC. Oh, the police? Oh, the police that you hold in your back pocket, that you hold like a deck of cards and that you control. The corrupted Melbourne police that treated reporters and the people of Melbourne with such contempt. Now today, the Victorian Premier's wife, Catherine, had her chance. Let's have a look at Catherine's response.
Julia, I don't know if you've ever been involved in an accident like this before. It was a terrible thing, so traumatic for everyone involved. Our kids were really little, like Joseph was only 5. Daniel's spoken about this, I've spoken about this, and I'm going to leave it there.
What do you make of those comments today from your witness who suggests that you went on your hands and knees helping you debate?
This really traumatic incident happened 10 years ago, so I've got no further comment to add.
Firstly, let me just say this. She asked the reporter a rhetorical question. Of course she hasn't been in an accident like that. And if she did, by the way, and she was in your position, you would probably want answers. Number two, why the smirk? Why the smile? And please don't tell me because she's nervous. Now, I know a little bit about body language. Number three, she says that her kids were 5. Yeah, and your victim was 15. Here's what I don't hear from any of these two. How's the victim? How's his mental health? How was he in hospital? This kid laid in a hospital for 11 days fighting for his life. Because you, smirky Catherine, who allegedly hid up in Queensland while your state was locked down, whom your kids go to a Catholic school. And the best you can offer the people of Victoria is a smirk and reciting things like a parrot. You know, it's a sad day and it's a sad time when you've got leaders like this potentially being re-elected. If the people of Victoria have any brains, and I think they do, you need to turf this guy out. I want to encourage every one of you to unseat this man in that area of Mulgrave. You got three awesome people, Michael Priestrino, Ian Cook, and Aidan McClendon. This man needs to go. The contempt that he has, him and his elitist wife, that caused my blood to boil today. I'm going to encourage you all to please share this on every single platform you can. Can you please, don't watch, please share this. Watch this again. This is an injustice of the highest order. And I add, even if that boy was at fault, which I don't believe he is, doesn't he deserve some compassion, some understanding, some heartfelt response from the Premier and his wife, who allegedly was driving the vehicle? Yeah, right. Anyway, on a further note, on Sunday, I'm doing a very powerful message on our Reborn channel, 8 a.m. And then on Tuesday, I am in Melbourne. We are in Melbourne all day. Thursday, I am in Sydney. The following week, we are in Brisbane. Please come and visit us. We will be at the Sheraton in Melbourne, and we're going to be doing our financial summit. But I will be speaking on issues relating to, well, what's happening in our world today. Please, good people of Melbourne, and if you know anyone in Melbourne, say, Pat's going to be in Victoria. I'm going to ask my team to put the link up right now. There it is, Mesiti.com. Mesiti.com/live. Now, it's a free event. It doesn't come any better than free. Tuesday, it's an all-day event, finishes around about 3 o'clock. Please come and join us. Also, for those of you that are in the Hervey Bay area, at the end of November, we are coming to Hervey Bay. We're going to be there for 3 days. And I know it's going to be a great time of awakening. And I know it'll really touch a lot of people. We will have that link in the chat. So, folks, join us in Melbourne on Tuesday, Sydney on Friday. Sunday morning, join us on our Reborn. This is the time that we need to band together and bring down some of these evil strongholds that have held our nation. These Goliaths, like Dictator Dan, Comrade Dan, Heartless Dan, Teflon Dan. By the way, the last Teflon guy I heard of was a guy called John Gotti, and he didn't end up well. I think what Dan Andrews needs to remember is that people have got cameras, people have got videos. Mr. Andrews, I think it's time you quit. I think it's time you go. I think it's time you leave. And I believe there's a whole bunch of people out there that would concur with me. And if Albanese had any gall at all, any sense of leadership, he'd pull this guy, give him a dressing down, and make sure he never gets to Canberra. Because let me tell you, that's what they're aiming for. They want to release this Antichrist spirit over Canberra. I believe that with all my heart. That's what they're planning for this guy. And I'm asking the police of Victoria, people that know about this stuff, don't let him get away with this. I look forward to seeing you in Melbourne on Tuesday. The event is free. It's a great financial event. I'm bringing 2 financial experts with me. See what you can do. Listen, what can you do to build yourself a financial future? What can you do to beat inflation? What can you do to still stay buoyant, guys? Listen, there's no point us whinging and complaining. We've got to do, and we've got to work while it's still day. So I look forward to seeing you in Melbourne. It's a free event. Come on. You've asked me to come to Melbourne. I'm going to be there, and I'm bringing some buddies with me to help you. The event is free. There is a link, Mesiti.com/live. Register for it now. Sydney on Thursday. And remember, this Sunday, Reborn, I'm going to be speaking on the subject a midnight cry. God bless you, everybody. Thanks to James and all the guys there at Damn Good Production. God bless you. Please like and share, and also join us on all our other social media platforms. We need your help because, hey, if they take us off one, we should hightail it over to another. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in Melbourne on Tuesday. Have a blessed and prosperous weekend.